Broncos country, what is going on? Week 1 for our Broncos is now in the books. They fall to the Seattle Seahawks 26-20 in, I think, what could be defined as a game of so many missed opportunities on offense. We're going to get into our instant reaction. Of course, y'all be sure to smash that like, subscribe, and also subscribe to Marquee Sports in the description. And let us know your thoughts on the game in the comments. We're going to go here with our normal panel, give some instant reaction, joined by Jeremy as well as Marquee Sports. Thank you guys for being here. And Mark, I guess we'll start with you, since I feel like I normally start with Jeremy in these live streams. But what's your initial reaction to this game? If there's something at first you want to get off your chest, we can just start there and roll from there.
Thanks, David. Yeah, man, if I started venting to everybody, not only would we lose the people that happen to want to show on, but we would probably go on for three hours. I get very bitter after these losses, but initial reaction, man, is it was ugly. It was ugly. It wasn't really what I had expected from the sense of how the offense was going to run. Now, did I think we were going to be putting up a bunch of points and a bunch of yards? No, but the play calling was weird for me. I think that they really they didn't stick to the run game like I felt like they should have. I mean, first thing off the top that I was thinking of was, Bo NIx is our leading rusher at 35 yards. And, secondly, yeah, I mean, Bo definitely struggled. Was I surprised by how much he struggled? A little bit. I'm not surprised that he did. He's a rookie. It's something that we have to remember. But, it was ugly. They did kind of make it a little bit of a game at the end. I was hoping that we'd at least get an opportunity to get some sort of miracle win. But overall, man, it was a brutal start, but it's a now we know our building blocks, and now we know what we need to do to improve. So that's what the season's all about.
I love that. And you're definitely right. Like, we kind of know, I think regardless, if you take away the record, the biggest thing is, how does Bo NIx look week 1 compared to week 18? We at least know the starting point right now. I'll kick it over to you, Jeremy. What are your initial thoughts on this first game against the Seahawks?
Man, there's so much. Yeah, we joked about between ourselves about calling this the just breathe gut reaction, because it's hard. It's so hard. You're so wrapped up in emotion, and then you're like, hey, you guys want to talk about it? And you're like, oh man, I could just spew. Yeah, Bo NIx struggled kind of as expected, like in Seattle. I thought they did kind of, they were very, very like safe with the game plan about short passes. Some ways I feel like they didn't help them out with like some of the drops. That was huge. Instead of sustaining drives, you just three and out. And it's just, didn't run past the sticks. You caught it, but you didn't get the first down because you didn't run. You didn't do a 5.5 yard route. You did a 4 yard route. And it's just like, those are the things that just drive you crazy. And of course it ends up going down. The thing that, to be optimistic, is Bo NIx at least shows his grittiness, because at the end of that first half, when everything is going bad against him, he doesn't shrink in the face of the pressure, throws a beautiful pass that gets us 3 points on that back shoulder. And then when you're down 13 and you're like, it's over, whatever, and most people would just wrap it up, he's like, nope. And he puts that long run down the sideline, and just being aware of they're in man coverage. I'm just going to keep running until they turn around, setting up the next run and doing a double pump fake to juke the guy out and then spin on Witherspoon to score was super nice. And I was just praying. I was just like, please just give us a chance, because it just felt like one of those old school Bronco Elway wins that was coming. If you just get the ball back, get the ball back. And yeah, that Benito offsides just crushed it, because it was 3rd and 11. We made the tackle, and you cannot fault
Browning. Sorry.
Was it Browning? Was it not Benito?
Yeah, it
was Browning. Okay, well then my fault, Nick. But yeah, you can't do that. It's the devil's in the details. You lose because you jumped off sides. I mean, you lost for other reasons too, but that was the clincher. I mean, one thing I will say too, that was a big question mark coming in, Riley Moss, dude looked great. I mean, that was perfect coverage on that last play. That's like just an unbelievable kind of lucky catch, but he was there the whole game. He was right on his man.
Yeah, Tyler Lockett was.
There was a couple to Lockett that you're just like, how did they complete that? He just threw it up for grabs and it was like right to his chest. And you're just like, one of those days, man. One of those days. But yeah, I mean, optimistic about the way, even in the face of all the adversity, just doesn't shrink. And that's something you can build on. That's something that the teammates know next week if you're down going into the fourth quarter. Okay, well, we still got a shot. There's been times when literally we've lost the lead and we're like, oh, we lost. Like it's the third quarter and we're down 3 or 4 and we're like, we're not coming back from that. Yes. And it doesn't feel like that anymore. So that's good.
Yeah. No, most definitely. I think before I get into kind of my instant takeaway regarding Seattle, they didn't even look like, man, they went through a head coaching change in terms of normally kind of the issues that you see kind of early on in the year. They looked like that in the first half. But after that, I mean, credit to their team, their coaching staff, their adjustments. I was so impressed with their tackling. I think the broadcast was calling this out as well, but it seemed like whenever we caught the ball, very reminiscent of Super Bowl 47 or 48. I 48, when we faced them. Yeah. Whereas like, man, every time we touched the ball or caught the ball, man, they were right there to bring us down at the point of the catch. There was very little opportunity to make big plays. And again, credit to them. They looked great in that second half. Unfortunately for us, which was a pretty hilarious first half. Like I can't remember ever seeing a team get like multiple safeties, especially like in a first half. And this was just a story of failing to capitalize when we had more than enough opportunities to get the lead on the road. And because we weren't able to pull away, that allowed them to rely on Kenneth Walker. And man, he really did tear us up in the second half. I thought our defense had a pretty good first half, obviously. The tackling was good. Alex Singleton was looking good, right? But of course, I guess they were getting the ball outside a little bit more. We were having trouble kind of containing. Alex Singleton struggled in run coverage there. There was a busted coverage to Charbonnet. But I think to kind of bring it back, we'll start with Bo NIx too, talking about his debut. But I think it's never ideal to have 42 passes in your rookie debut. Similar to Caleb Williams, he had his ups and downs, but now we kind of at least know the baseline, what we're starting with. Would I expect to see a better performance against him from him at home next week? Yes, but I think the thing that I'm most encouraged with is that we at least saw flashes of him being able to make some big plays with his arms and his legs on third downs. And I think we got to do better at setting him up to have a little bit more success. It was a shame, man. We could have had that Javonte Williams touchdown, that Jaleel McLaughlin turnover. Like, if that's not going for a touchdown, that's at least going for a first down conversion, I feel like. And little Jordan Humphrey, Josh Reynolds with a handful of drops. Cortland Sutton might have had one. Really the only guy that was kind of prepared and looked the part was Devon Vele. Strangely enough.
And Josh Reynolds a little bit at the end.
Reynolds showed up at the end.
It was brutal, man.
Yeah.
It's brutal. I mean, when you can't get into any kind of a rhythm, like we couldn't. I mean, when we started the game good and you're looking at it and we were up 13-9 or something at half, and you really felt like in a way, man, we should have been up way more than that. Every time that happens, every single time you're like, you're going to end up losing. And I was even telling myself that exact same thing when I was watching the Packers and the Eagles game the other day. the Eagles started off terribly, and the Packers were only up 6-0, and I'm like, Packers are going to lose this game because they didn't take any advantage of the opportunities. And so yeah, I mean that in and of itself was brutal, and people have to realize the defense was not getting anything. It was not getting. It was. I guess we weren't being a favor for the defense because they were just constantly. It seemed like on the field, so they ended up obviously tiring out at the end there.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, just like you said, it's just like those little plays. Javonte doesn't slip, you get a first down. Maybe you score a touchdown, and then if Lil Jordan doesn't drop that pass, maybe you start to get into a little bit more of a flow. It's a completely different game at that point. But for what it's worth, guys, everyone, I have a group chat that I'm in, and everyone panics and freaks out. It's the funniest thing. They're like, Bo NIx sucks, and we're gonna get into a quarterback.
Fire
Caleb
everybody
Williams,
into the sun.
Yeah, Caleb Williams, the chosen one, was 14 of 29, which is under 50%. He had 93 yards today. He did nothing, 0. He looked awful, actually.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm saying, oh, he's better than. I don't want to do the comparison, but it's really important to realize that these guys are rookies, and the Seahawks defense is a lot harder than the Tennessee Titans defense, and we were on the road, so it was not ideal. But I would like to see more from Sean Payton and the coaching staff for sure, because I think they left a lot out on the table there.
Yeah, what was your thoughts, Jeremy? If you had any notes on kind of the play calling or anything like that, would love to know what you were thinking throughout the game.
Yeah, I was texting you guys. I was like, run the ball. Run the ball. Sean Payton talked about how you got to take him off the high dive. He put him on the high dive because it was by throwing early and often, we had a chance. I mean, I listened to a bunch of Seattle people before this game, and they were like scared about their run defense because they were so bad last year. And we were having success, especially, Javonte falls on that first drive. That's a touchdown. He's not getting touched. And it's just like, we have them on the ropes if we just make it easier. Don't put all the pressure and don't let them come up and just sit up on that. So it was just like Seattle figured out what we didn't, and that was to run, set up the pass. And that's what they did in the second half, and it killed us because once they finally started getting some success and like breaking it up a little bit, that's when somebody leaked out and didn't make a tackle, and then all of a sudden they scored, and that was what we needed to do. Mm-hmm. So that was super frustrating. The other thing I was texting was like, we needed a deep shot. They just were at a certain point, they were like, Nick's knows, especially Garrett Bowles is out, so he knows I got to get the ball out quick. They're just sitting on routes, and you have to take something deep to like make them at least be worried that something over the top could happen, and we just didn't even try. I don't know why you have Marvin Mims if you're never going to at least try. The one time last season when we actually tried to throw it deep, he he exploded, and then they're like, well, that worked, so let's never do it again. And you're like, I don't understand. Just try. I mean,
well, and they're trying to throw these yak throws, the yards after the catch throws across the middle. They're trying to throw them to guys like Sutton and Vele, or I think I saw one with Dulcich. It's like, why aren't the fast guys getting those? I don't understand it. That's something I had noted too.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like if you're gonna throw those short routes and they're just gonna sit on it, like Bo NIx is awesome at yak because he gets the ball out really quickly. But that team was like sitting on everything and tackling like extremely low, like you said, David. So if that's gonna happen, you have to just go for some shots. You have to at least soften it up, because they have to be worried about, oh shoot, I don't know, like I don't want to get beat, and even just the chance, so that's why a lot of teams will do a reverse early in the game, just because it will make that backside guy worry about it the rest of the game, just to kind of slow his rush down a little bit. You need to set things up so there's chances later, and we didn't do any of that. We just wanted to throw short, and on 1st and 10, the little dump offs just wasn't getting it done. So that was the main thing for me.
Did you guys see much of? I know that we saw him on the last drive specifically, but it was kind of odd to see kind of Jaleel McLaughlin be that guy mainly throughout the second half. Whereas, yeah, I know Javonte had a couple slips. Maybe he was leaving. I think one of y'all might have mentioned like he's not exactly seeing the holes the best, but I let me check the box score, man. I thought that he had some good runs for us in the first half, and I don't really remember seeing him much in the second half. Javonte Williams, oh, yikes. Yeah, none of this stuff is great. 8 for 23. That's a 2.9 average. Jaleel McLaughlin got 10 carries for 27. That's a 2.7 average. And man, Audric Estime looked all right. 2 carries for 14. Hurdled the guy, but had a fumble. So you knew you weren't really going to see much of him after that. He got 1 carry after that first carry, but yeah. I was a little surprised to see, again, to serve a rookie quarterback well, you want to try and control that time possession a little bit. You want to get the run game going. That I think was something that I was disappointed with Sean Payton with, in agreement with you guys. I think that even on our second possession, it was a 3-and-out with 3 straight passes. Yeah, did not like the game plan coming in here, and I think you guys called it out where the lack of just using speed, like it seemed like we were pretty late getting the play call in too, so that might have had to do with the noise, but I feel like most of the times we were just getting to the line with 10 seconds left or so, maybe even less, and so that really limits your ability to do any sort of pre-snap motion, get a wide receiver rolling across the formation, any of that that we saw some ran in preseason. But I think that this was a legitimate first string defense that Bo Nix saw for the first time, and we saw those bumps. And I think too, throughout his time in preseason, I think he was mainly seeing man coverage, and I think again with Seattle zone, I think that it's very clear that he has some adjustments to make with that.
And that's a hell of a defense. Like you guys will realize that as the season goes on. Seattle's defense is going to be a problem. They have the best cornerback tandem in the NFL. But yeah, the second that they realized that we couldn't run on them, it was easy. It became simple. You jam everybody. They don't really have we don't really have that good of receivers. I know I've talked about that a lot. Or guys that can be superstars, and so they just jam them at the line and force them to throw into tight windows and force them to throw rush. So it became easy. But what I get really frustrated with, and this is so unlike Sean Payton when he was with New Orleans, but it's been kind of a common theme when he's been here, is he doesn't stick to one guy, like to one running back. He doesn't let anybody get into a flow. He'll just switch it up and put Jaleel in, and then he'll put Estime in for no reason. Then he puts Javonte. Like, let's let these guys get into some sort of a flow of the game. It wasn't like that at all. Like, granted, he had Kamara, but Kamara would get 90 to 95% of all the carries always, and then he'd bring in like Mark Ingram or somebody to spell him. Now it's like you're just divvying it up between three guys, and the result of that is basically among the running backs 20 carries for 64 yards. It's awful. It's awful, and I'll never understand why he's been doing that. But he's just got to pick somebody and roll with him. I don't really care who it is at this point.
My guess on that is Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan used to do that same thing where they would look for the hot hand. They would throw somebody in, and all of a sudden somebody broke something, and they go, "Oh, okay." So look, and then they just go with that guy. There wasn't really a chance for that in this game. I think he was looking for that, and I don't know. If later on in the season, if Javonte's having a good game and then you take him out to like start just running in somebody cold, then that would be a problem. I just felt like he was looking for a spark from somebody make a play. That's the thing that I saw on the comment earlier about like the cap space is sitting on the Steelers bench.
Yeah.
I mean, it showed up in playmakers today. We don't have game breaking people. The thing with Bo Nix is going to give you opportunities to make plays, but you have to be able to like break tackles and like make people miss. We didn't do that at all today, and we were tackled immediately. I'll credit Seattle on that for a lot of those. They were just like they were there right away, but there was also times when you could have done a little shake, and then we just don't have dynamic athletes. At least we didn't play them. Maybe Franklin is, maybe Mims is, but the thing with having tall receivers like Vele and Sutton and Reynolds is their possession big bodies, but they're not tackle breaking, like take it to the house guys. You know, we don't have a Tyreek Hill. We don't have, I mean, that's literally what the Chiefs' whole scheme is. We just got to get the ball to people and let them do their thing. And all of their guys that they've gotten are all game breakers. That's their whole strategy. They don't even care. They have one possession guy. It's Kelsey. And other than that, just they got the jitterbug guys and just get them the ball and let them do their thing.
Yeah.
And we're kind of built the opposite. We can blame the salary cap on that for, you know, we're taking a huge hit this year. But I think that showed up against teams that are going to tackle really well and really lock down like that. You're just not going to get any sort of extras. No. And we needed it.
No. And I want to go back to the first half really quick because I thought our special teams unit did pretty good today. You know, that was nice to see. Riley Dixon, of course, I think he had kind of one punt in the second half that I don't think was a great one, but pinning the Seahawks, you could basically give Riley Dixon those 4 points, man, from the two safeties, which was great to see. And I think our pass rush, I thought, looked pretty good. It was very encouraging in the first half to see us really putting some pressure on that offensive line. But again, credit to Ryan Grubb in Seattle. They made the appropriate adjustments to where their right tackle really wasn't much of an issue in that second half because they were just getting the running game going. And Kenneth Walker, incredibly hard to bring down. He kind of almost looked like Derrick Henry out there. You know, even when he was dealing with us in the backfield, he's still suplexing our guys, breaking tackles. Like, he didn't go down on first contact really much at all throughout this game. And yeah, this was a big test for Denver. But again, I think we at least know our starting point of where we're at right now. And Sean Payton has showed that he can get these teams to improve throughout the season. That is my hope, that we're going to see improvement with Bo Nix. That's my expectation. But hopefully Garrett Bowles, his injury is okay, is not serious. Did you guys know what that was? I might have missed that on the broadcast.
They just said ankle. That was all they said.
Okay. Well, as
he
long
was questionable. He wasn't ruled out, but he was questionable with an ankle.
Okay. So yeah, hopefully he's gonna be okay. Yeah, again, when you're putting Matt Pert out there, that sucks, man.
And
that's
next
never
week,
ideal.
It does not get
week
easier.
one.
TJ Watt looked insane, incredible today, and it is not going to get easier next week. I mean, double, triple, quadruple team him if you have to. That guy was a one-man. He won them the game. Like, Justin Fields didn't. He just he's exactly like Russ, except for he has mobility, but like he just scrambles around. He doesn't. I don't think he's a very good passer of the football, but he's got good wheels. But they really won that game because TJ Watt. Seriously. Or TJ Watt, am I saying that? It's not. Yeah.
TJ Watt.
That he's gonna have like 6 sacks next week, probably.
It was insane. I mean,
he's gonna be one of those like 9 to 6 games, 6 to 3. Like, the over under is gonna be a 38 or something like that, and it's probably gonna be under. It's gonna be a.
Do you think it's gonna be a battle next week?
I hope so. I would much rather play him than Fields.
Me too, man.
For sure.
Yeah, he can't run around like Fields can.
Hell no.
It was weird that he got a weird tightness of his calf, and then like it's gonna keep out your starting quarterback like week 1. Like, okay, that's
I call it regretting naming him the starter is what I call. No, I know he had a calf injury earlier in camp, so they're just probably trying to be smart with him. But
I guess that just seems it's gonna be interesting. Their offense doesn't scare me. Knock on wood. Fields would probably light us up if he ends up playing. I don't know, but yeah, that's going to be a huge injury because like if Bowles is out, like
then Cody Barton with him out, we kind of look a lot more suspect at the linebacker position with who's the guy that replaced him? Welsh.
Yeah.
Welch, yeah.
Is he a
I
rookie?
was surprised Stranad didn't get some run. He like ended up camp pretty well, and he's way quicker with like than Singleton or Barton as far as like pass coverage goes. I was just surprised they went to Welsh before they went to Stranad. Maybe he did. I didn't look at the inactives. Maybe he was like inactive. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think I want to see Troy Franklin here soon, man. I know he's still coming up to speed, but we need some speed. I want to see Marvin Mims featured more. Little Jordan Humphrey, man. If we're not establishing the run game effectively, then I feel like there's not a huge use for him to be active. And yeah, I would like to see some more speed brought into this team. But hopefully next week we're able to, I think one like small thing that we can do a lot better of a job with, again, we won't have the crowd noise, but it's just getting the play call in quicker and getting to the line. It was just a slow operation today. Not as bad as, maybe a couple of years ago, but still slow nonetheless. That's something that we need to speed up in order to kind of get ourselves, I think, into the best play possible.
Yeah.
That was one of those things where I saw like Seattle, that hurt us as far as the noise goes, because you would see they would call like the formations of like who, like the who's running in, who's running out. He would either like do like 2-1 or 1-1, whatever. And then by the time he got the play call, there was 20 seconds left. I mean, you burn 20 seconds before you even getting the play call in. Then they go to the line. It's another 10 seconds. People are huddling around like, what did he say? What did he say? It was just like, and then by the time he was even getting ready to snap it, it was 3. And you're like, yeah. I mean, that's another thing that puts your quarterback under pressure, because you're like, oh shoot, now the snap. Oh shoot, now I'm getting rushed. Where did I have to look? You're not doing your checks. You're not doing your pre-snap stuff. So totally agree. Got to speed that up.
Want to give a shout out though, Jonathan Cooper. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. I thought that he had a very good game. Alex Singleton looked amazing in that first half with that interception. A little bit up and down. And then again, Riley Moss, I know that there were some comments at the beginning about him just being absolutely terrible. There were some times where he got burned. There were some other times where I thought he had really good coverage and was solid in run support. But again, we also saw where I think there was an instance where he wasn't able to contain or hold that outside edge, and it went for a big Kenneth Walker gain. So a little bit up and down from him as well. Hopefully he's able to have a bounce back game against Pittsburgh, a less dynamic offense. And hopefully we can look a lot more like the first half Denver Broncos in this game compared to the second half. Arthur Smith, a little bit different of an offensive mind than Ryan Grubb, and hopefully we're able to kind of take advantage of that.
No doubt. Yeah, it's key is stopping the run. And I mean, anyone saying Riley Moss was awful, it's just nonsense. I mean, they had 158 passing yards total.
Totally agree.
Nobody in that secondary was awful. I can assure you that. And it was just it was just we couldn't do anything offensively. That's where this one lies. And
I thought Moss was physical. I mean,
he was good. He was even good. Like he had one missed tackle on that long Walker run, but it was the real bad missed tackle was prior. I think it was Browning or somebody. But no, the defense was fine, and that's what makes me more optimistic than how we started last year. Because last year it was almost like you have to score 40 points to win in the beginning. Obviously that turned around. This year it's like, man, the defense plays like that, especially against the Steelers, who I think are a worse offensive team, especially on the skill position player offensively. Yes. You have a little bit more optimism going into those games, but I think the defense overall was fine. They just got gas at the end because they'd have 10 minutes of like real life time only before they were back out there a lot, and that's gonna be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry, guys, I got to keep this post game a little bit short. I have a dinner to get to, but Jeremy, Mark, really appreciate you guys for joining me. Depending on my week, would love to have you guys back so we could do like a preview of the Steelers game, maybe talk some
Yep.
keys to the game, kind of all that. So I'll be in touch with you guys regarding that. Mark, let us know. Do you got any specific upcoming videos to let the people know about, and where to find you?
Well, I have a video. Probably after this, I'll record kind of an
Cool.
in-depth post game with some notes on that, and then we'll just we'll look on to Pittsburgh, and we'll tackle some fantasy stuff too. But Broncos related, it's going to be a lot about just breaking this down. Changes we'd like to see, adjustments, and then on to Pittsburgh. So, yep.
On to Pittsburgh. Well, thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody in the chat, Broncos country. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We'll be back again later this week. As always, y'all, go Broncos.
Go Broncos, baby.
Yep.